let there be a firmament. He's saying, in the middle of the water, I'm going to put a space. That's where we get the word space from. I'm going to put a gap. So imagine water, and what he would do figuratively is, as he expands it, between his hands become air, space. Above his hands is still water. Beneath his hands, still water. But now we have space. And watch what he goes on to say. Read.
Come. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters.
In the midst of the water, a gap, an expansion, a space. That is why we look up, water comes down from above, because if the water couldn't come down from above, when the earth had its flood, it would have been impossible to have flooded the earth simply with just rain and the sea bursting forth and water coming up. So we have to know that water, there's a whole lot of water up above that can come down. The first flood proved it. But here's the thing that I want to catch your mind. We have been raised in a society to believe that the world as we know it, I won't go into the global and flat earth thing, but the world as we know it, there is space out there. And yes, there is. But man has never left this place. I know people have taught you that. People believe it. Yeah, we went to the moon. Lies. It's an luminary. You know what a luminary is? Something that's so bright it has a startling effect that there is nothing that you could wear that could block the light of it out. Secondly, the sun itself. They say it's X amount of billion miles away. And we've proven this by the other day when we were somewhere and we watched how the cloud moved behind the sun. So what's the sun millions of miles away still doing all of that? Here's the other thing. How come the sun, if it's so many billion miles away, why does it not give light into the rest of space, but only gives light on the earth? So what, does its beam come just to the earth? It's because the sun and the moon, they are within our sphere.
That's right.
They are within our sphere. Outside of our sphere is water still. Beneath our sphere is water still. And all the garbage that you've heard from mankind saying they've been to Mars and all the rest of it, that's all poppycock. Because man, unfortunately, has realized that people's desire for either the unknown, the darkness, or the macabre, or anything sinister, or anything supernatural or scientific, there's money in it. And pretty much all things are about money. But I digress. But the point being is this. In the beginning, he made all things with his angels. And they were the orchestrators of making things according to the will of the Son. The Son carries out the act for his Father, who is the Most High God. Now, there are those who say, but Jesus is the Father, and Jesus is the Son. I grew up with that. I came up in apostolicism, Pentecostalism, you name it. But it is a physical impossibility, especially when you read the scriptures, right? Scriptures, it's been telling us all along that the Father spoke to the Son, and the Son spoke to the Father, and there's the scriptures that show you where they're both there at the same time. How that be? You know what all right, let's go to Daniel. Did you have something for me?
I mean, I'm always sitting on John 14:28.
Hit it for me, Doctor. Go ahead, sir.
It's the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 28. It reads, Ye have heard how I said unto you, I go away, and come again unto you. If ye loved me, you would rejoice, because I said, I go unto the Father.
I go where?
I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I.
Greater than I. Go to Daniel chapter 7.
Okay.
Let's quickly prove that point, and then we're going to go to Proverbs 20. And then we'll go from there.
Before you do that, if you,
Yes, sir.
Since you said you wanted me to ask a question.
Yes, of course. Please do.
I'm a little perplexed or confused.
Go ahead.
I would use the word confused. You said in the beginning, God on earth, void, nothing, infinite. But at the same breath, you said he spoke to angels,
Mm-hmm.
which meant the presence of other beings, spiritual,
Right.
obviously, because
Right.
it wasn't physical.
Right.
Why does it need for God two things, to consult with angels? Maybe that's just the way he had it set up. Why is he needing to consult with angels to do a work that he's planning on doing? That's one thing. And then I always grew up saying that God is no respecter of persons. What he did for one, he'll do for another.
Go on.
So, and I asked this at my church,
Mhm.
because this came in my spirit. Nobody. If God is no respecter of persons, what he do for one, he'll do for other. Why did he create man, but felt the need to take the woman out of the rib of man? He created the man, but he took the rib of a man to make the woman. Why didn't he create the woman too? If he's no respecter of persons, if he's equal in everything. That was just a question that just,
Who's equal in everything?
huh?
You said equal in everything.
Well, no respecter of persons is what I mean. In other words, what he do for one, he'll do for the other.
Right,
There's
right.
no,
Right.
it's not balanced.
Right. But even that statement in itself, which is what he'll do for one, he'll do for another, it's not 100.
Huh?
It's not 100% that what he does for one, he does for the other.
Which is why I was saying that I was confused. I started
Right,
off
yeah.
by that premise. I'm confused because sometimes it's a lot of contradictions.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't. I could be quiet.
No. I know.
No, you good.
You see,
But by the way, the pastor, I was never given an explanation, or well, when I say explanation,
All
what
right.
resonates in my mind, it made sense
Right.
because there was no answer. Because
Okay.
they said, well, God, they gave the traditional,
All right.
spiritual, biblical, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
God, oh well, God is His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. We can't understand why God do. I'm sorry. But anyway,
Yeah.
I
No,
was just curious.
your point is well taken. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that lesson aside.
God,
Oh,
okay,
I'm
this.
quiet.
And no, and we're going to go into the meat of it. See, this is what I like anyway. See? So you'll come to the right place.
In all due respect, I'm not asking being sarcastic or cynical. I'm asking because
Oh, absolutely.
my curious mind.
I got you.
I was always, when I was in grade school, all through school, high school, college, I was always, not always, put out the class because I was always one of the kids that asked why.
Mhm.
If something
Come
was
on.
told to me and if it didn't resonate in my spirit, it didn't make sense to me.
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't trying to be a smart.
No.
aleck. I was just wanting it to make sense to me, so I asked why.
Right, let me just quickly say this. The reason why you ask why is because it is in all of us
That's right.
as his children to ask why. No other nation asks more why than we do.
That's right.
You know why we ask the biggest why? But one of the why are we the ones that are downtrodden? Why are we the ones that are going to slip? Why are we the ones taking the mountain? Why are we the ones that lost our heritage? So yes, the word why is important. But now let's get back. Let's get back to the point. Now, did you have something?
I got respect to the person.
Go ahead.
God. I'm gonna show you the law first about respect to persons. Then I'll show you where you got it from, right? Where the pastor got it from, right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 2, and verse 25. It reads, "And God looked upon the children of Israel."
Listen carefully now. Listen carefully. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 25.
Mhm.
And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them, right?
So, explain to our brother a little bit more.
That's exactly
Because he's got who is he respecting and who is he not respecting.
So, first 5 books are called the Torah. This is Moses' writings that he got from the Father, the Most High, right? So when he's writing the Torah, it's about his people, Israelites, right? So the Most High says he looked upon Israel and he had respect unto them. And the reason why is because he gave the law, which is a heritage. It's not a religion. There's no such thing that comes from the Most High. There's no such thing as religion, right?
Absolutely.
It's a culture, it's a heritage, which are laws that the Israelites were given.
From the beginning.
Right? From the beginning, right? So when you read Paul's writings, right? And matter of fact, I'm going to clarify who Paul is, and then I'm going to show you what he said, right? And the reason why, and then I'll tell you the reason why he even said it. So let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1,
Yes.
real quick. Because that does come up a lot about there's no respect of persons, right? So the book of Romans, chapter 11, and verse 1, it says, I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid, because we said earlier that his people are the Israelites, right? So he says, God forbid, for I am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin, right? Because there's 12 tribes of Israel. Benjamin is one of them, and that's Paul's tribe. Paul's not no Gentile. Paul's not no heathen. Paul's an Israelite, right? Who sent epistles out to the churches to find his people. He wasn't just sending out epistles or letters to anybody. He was sending them out to his people. So that's why he made this statement, has God cast away his people? It was God forbid, right? When you read further, he had actually said the remnant who never bowed the knee to another God, who never bowed the knee to another idol or anything such. They kept the charge of the Most High from way back when. Because it's their forefathers that they're talking about, right? So let's get the scripture that has no respect of persons. This is Romans chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 8 and come on down to keep it contextual. So you can actually follow along to get some meat on it, right?
That happens to be one of my favorites.
That's good.
Good. Then we're gonna be on one
But for
accord.
different reasons, though, probably what you think.
Right. Well, I'm gonna clarify, right? Because I was fed the same rip, right? Because lo and behold, they're all spitting the same thing because they got it from one person or one nation, right? About the understanding. But I just showed you in the Torah.
If you don't mind, just for my clarity, what's that one nation? Just where you all got it from one.
Like when we all came here, when our nation came here, we were all baptized by another nation who sold us a white image
A bill of goods.
and their understanding of someone else's heritage, which is impossible for them to do. So basically, it was a lie. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? So here in Romans chapter 2, verse 8, it says, but unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, which is the law, but obey unrighteousness, which is sin, in indignation and wrath. It says, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jew first and also of the Gentile. The Jew, what does the word Jew mean? Where does it come from? No problem. It's Judah. Judah. Right?
But the reason why I say I'm not sure, because from my perspective, the Jews that we traditionally know it is imposters. So how can I answer where did that come from when I
No,
believe it's
I
hypocrisy?
was just asking you what the name was, not about the heritage, just the name. Right? I keep it real basic. So we'll get on some type of level playing field first, and then we build from there, right? So I was just saying, what is the word Judah, right? It means Judah. So that's one tribe, and Paul comes from another tribe, Benjamin, but that's all Israelites. So it's still talking about Israelites. And then when it says Gentile, guess what that means?
That's everybody other than that.
No,